And welcome to the end of the fifth round, I think. Or no. It is the beginning of the fifth round. Okay. So we'll switch out the die. We're now in the fifth round. Basically, here's what's happened. So the US took back Western United States after the Japanese had taken it. The Japanese have landed a bunch of fighters, tacticals, and strategic bombers. They have built the Yamato. They're moving deeper into China and have been pushed back by the Chinese and Indians now. They're holding Kwangtung and all of that. And they've taken Amur. Russian people are leaving because the Germans are posing a bigger threat than before realized. The Italians are blitzing through the Middle East, and the Indians are bulking on Calcutta to protect themselves. The Germans are moving up to Caucasus, and the Battle of Egypt is over, but not in the way you thought. So the Italians came down, killed everyone but the French guy, and they lost everyone but that bomber. And then the French guy came up and liberated it. So probably the first time a French person has done anything good in the entire game. The Anzacians have taken the Carolines, and this just that cruiser and destroyer are meeting up for the first time. So we'll have to see what happens then. The Anzacians have taken Celebes, Java, and Sumatra, so they are making, I think, $30 with bonuses per turn, which is insane for Anzac. Then there's a landing here in Normandy. That's probably going to get pushed back. If it doesn't, then probably the Germans are doomed. But we made 3 more transports for them. The U.S. went on a bombing spree and took out some of those factories. That fleet came down here, and there's another landing force, small landing force behind there. The U.S. has also built 10 infantry right there, and they sent a transport over here. Those 4 guys are still in Brazil. These U.S. planes and ships are still here after making their way from the Philippines, way over there. And that's basically it. Oh, yeah. There were 2 tanks in Bulgaria, I believe. Or was it Greece? I think it's Greece. So anyway, the flying aircraft carriers managed to take out both of them without suffering any losses. So, having an extra plane with you is very helpful if your normal fighters can't make it and you don't want to lose your bombers. So I'll see. Oh, here's the whatever it's called, build chart. So this is not supposed to say battle cruiser. It's supposed to say heavy because these are both super heavy aircraft carriers, as is the Japanese one. Super heavy battleship, heavy Italian battleship, heavy Indian battleship. The Indians are building this minor factory, and so are the Japanese. And then that's the tech charts. And if you want me to do a video explaining every single one of the techs, then please leave a comment in the comments down below. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of round 6. And here's how it stands. Yes, the Japanese did hold on to Western United States. Those 10 guys came over, didn't get a single hit in the first round, and Japan got 3. And it just continued like that, so I don't know what's wrong with the U.S. dice. They built 10 more infantry, well, 11, if you count that guy over there. And they built that. That's a light carrier, by the way. It can only carry one guy, one plane. And they continued their bombing run, this time only doing 3 damage, but managing not to get shot down. The U.S. landed in Algeria, and the French are still holding Egypt because the Italians can't get there in time. And they sent these guys over to Persia because they had been attacked by that transport with two guys, so that they would divert attention away from Egypt. Because if those two guys were allowed to stay there, that who knows what havoc they would have gotten into. The Italians making around $40 per turn. I think it's like 30 something. They finished their heavy battleship, built 3 destroyers and a submarine. So that is quite a fleet. You would think the Americans have more than that, but their fleet is split up right now. The Germans decided not to attack Normandy, which I think was a huge mistake on my part, because this is a solo game, so I'm playing everything. And I think the Germans should have attacked it, but I thought that my artillery, I only had artillery at the time, and I don't think that it would have taken them out. So, yeah, they reinforced it. That's the card. They've got 7 infantry, a mech infantry, an artillery, a tank, and 4 fighters. Not a shred of Americans are there, which is strange. I've never seen a gameplay video without Americans doing anything. But they're on a mass migratory pattern. Those ships that were over there in that plane are way over here now. And yes, the question to fate is, the French ships did meet up finally. After coming from opposite ends of the earth, they did meet up finally. A love story of the ages. So, the American ships came down from Hawaii because of that. They should have done so earlier, but I don't know. They just decided to sit there. Hawaii's been bulked up. We're not moving anything from there. So that if the Japanese do decide to take it, then they'll have to lose some guys while doing it. And of course, I forgot to roll for that battle, but we all know what's going to happen. The Japanese are losing in China, except for that, and Kwangtung has fallen, so they're no longer getting that 5 IPC bonus. The Anzac continue doing squirrely things. This time they built 4 infantry instead of ships. And they lost their entire fleet to that one ship, and that one ship didn't even take a scratch. Yes, I know, that's insanely overpowered, but it's the Yamato, so what do you expect? They sent their entire air force over there, and that's basically it for the Anzac. That French fighter came down, the little fighter that could, and over here on the eastern front, the Italians are just gobbling up all these territories. They're making 25 without bonuses, so yeah, it's horrible. For the Russians, that is. Russians keep moving these guys back, and Japan did branch out, take Saka, Buryatia, and Siberia. The Italians keep moving stuff forward. The Germans are now moving stuff back to deal with that threat, but they did build 10 tanks last turn, so they can either go down to France or they can go over to the Eastern Front, where I think they're most needed. Because Moscow is losing. I think my strategy of attacking everything with just infantry maybe was a really bad idea, actually. But I want to try a new thing, because I've never seen anyone just like throw men away at the enemy tanks. It did work. I did take out a stack of tanks, but Germany's just got too many tanks moving, so that didn't work very well. I think that's it. Brazil, as usual, not doing anything. Yeah, I think that's it. They are continuing to build their fleet. 3 transports a turn is what they're doing. Here, let's show you the build chart. So, the U.S., the Japanese bombed the U.S. factory in the middle territory, so they couldn't finish or move that down the track, that super heavy aircraft carrier, but they did move that one down. The Indians are building a normal carrier, not a light carrier. They're building a fast battleship, and the Japanese are building 2 battleships, a super heavy aircraft carrier, and a super heavy battleship. So, yeah. That's the tech. Why can you not see it? Oh well. can't fix that right now. The Russians are failing miserably with their dice, and so are the Anzakians. And yes, they only get one die per turn. However, you can buy more dice for tech, 2 IPCs. So you can buy however many dice you want, but you can only allocate 3 dice to each tech roll. And they've been rolling horribly. The Italians are moving up on the heavy tanks, so soon we're going to see some Italian Tigers. And Japan is researching mechs and not improved mechanized infantry. You'll see what I mean when they place some on the board. Oh, and one more thing. If you roll a 12 on a tech roll, that immediately means you win. Not win. You go to the finish of the tech. I know that's also overpowered, but I think of it as like a genius, like Einstein is working on the project, and he's come with a amazing breakthrough in medicine or something like that. So that's how I think of it. So yeah, I will see you at the end of round 6, beginning of round 7. Okay, so this is the end of round 6, and we've switched out to a D8. The U.S. did take back Western United States again, unfortunately, but we knew it was going to happen. Fortunately, we didn't lose any people, because we sent them all up there, down there, and through the Panama Canal. So, well, actually we didn't. We took the Panama Canal, and we moved that fleet in a non-combat phase. So the U.S. fleet, yeah, that's really pitiful for the U.S., but it's good for Japan. Speaking of Japan, they've lost basically everything but that territory and Manchuria, which is unfortunate. But Italy did come through and take both of those territories. We're continuing to take the Soviet Far East. We built a few destroyers. We built 8 infantry and built 2 infantry over there. We took back the Carolines. Didn't lose anybody because of the bombard. And we decided not to kill that destroyer. And the French destroyers left. So, we built a factory up there for Japan, and we're about to take that. Actually, probably we can't take it this turn, but maybe next turn. Maybe. On the Eastern Front, the Russians have been moving their troops in the Far East in, and they attacked Kazakhstan with that Italian tank. It failed, and then they took those with a guy each, just to stall the inevitable. And that's basically it. They've only got that territory and a few over there. The Indians do not like what the Italians are doing, so they moved all their troops with the French people from French Indochina. They have a heavy battleship, a normal battleship, a cruiser, and a destroyer, and 3 transports. That's not nothing. Plus the destroyer that the Yamato spared. Be grateful. The Anzac got super subs, so they built themselves 3. And that's where the French destroyers went. And that's where the U.S. ships are. The U.S. continues to march across Africa. The French moved their plane from England down, and then to Algeria, and this turn they just moved it to Egypt. And that card has now swelled to this. Now, the other Frenchman left and went to southern France and liberated it. He's definitely going to die, but, I mean, that's his job, I guess. So, I don't think we can take Moscow this turn. Maybe next turn. We've got 10 tanks on the way, another 10 infantry, more planes, and we've got some heavy tanks. That's what those are. We've got 2 of them. And we're building a super heavy tank, basically the mouse over there. I'll show you in a second. I don't think there's anything else. We moved the German fleet out 1 space and built a destroyer. I think that's it. The Anzac moved their 2 troops from the transport over to there. probably to help Egypt. They moved their planes over here so they can send them to Moscow. The one ship fleet is just sailing around destroying other fleets. The Yamato's already destroyed the Anzac fleet, which consisted of 2 cruisers, a destroyer, and 3 transports, or 2 transports. So by itself, and it didn't even take a damage. So that's what you get for going up against the Yamato. The Musashi has moved down. So has the super heavy aircraft carrier and 2 battleships. The Indians are building a fast battleship and a normal carrier. The British are building a cruiser and a battleship. And that is a battle cruiser for the Japanese. That's the super heavy tank. And the US didn't move their ships up because they didn't have enough money. And they don't want to waste their money putting ships when there's a massive Japanese fleet sailing around. So that's the tech. The Japanese are up to stage 2 on mechs. They've got I-400s. They're starting improved naval base, which is different than improved shipyards. That's basically it. Everyone is going for propaganda and war bonds. Propaganda is you roll 2d6 minus 4, and the minimum you can get is 6 IPCs. So it's basically just free 6 IPCs unless you get an 11 or 12 with 2d6. So yeah, that is it. I'll see you at the end of round 7. Okay, here we are at the beginning of turn 8, or round 8, I mean. So, the German fleet is just going around up there. That's the good news, is that they're up there. The bad news is they would have been smashed. And Western Germany, France, Northern Italy, and Greater Southern Germany have all been taken. So tell me when the last time was you saw France doing something. They just collected $25. And also, they took Eastern Persia for unknown reasons. Their cruiser and destroyer are still down there, and Anzac are building subs. So, the Musashi has been completed, along with 2 battleships and a super heavy aircraft carrier. Japan did take Central America, and they did take Western America over there. However, the US has retaliated. So, that is that. The US is going down, though. Like, there's no question about it. Oh, and my rules state that if an enemy complex has been taken, then it downgrades to a minor. Not physically, but you can only place 3 units on a major and 1 on a minor. So, I can place 3 over on Western America. That is the Russian stack there. I don't know how much that is. I haven't counted. I'm sure it's in the 40s, 40 units. So there is no way that Germany is going to take that. And Japan's doing their business over in the Far East. China has been liberated from that pesky tank over there, and the Italians were destroyed by an attack over there. And then the French came in and took the territory. The US are doing something useless, I assume. I don't know what they're doing. They really can't do anything. They should not be doing anything over there, because if they attack those fleets, the battleship alone will destroy that entire fleet without taking a single damage, so there's really nothing they do. The Italians are building destroyers and subs every turn to not lose their battleship that they spent so long building, and so much money. And they took Egypt. Nothing really is happening in Africa, at least the lower Africa. Those Anzac people stayed there. Can't think of anything more exciting. That stack was destroyed almost. That's all they got left, plus the tank that the French got from their one-time bonus. Brazil, still doing nothing over there. Blowing up some whales. Yeah, I think that's it. Not very many exciting things. Let's go look at the build chart. So that's what I've got so far right here. 3 mechs, an anti-aircraft artillery, and some planes. And I built another plane for the one that I lost in the battle for Western United States. This is the build chart. A heavy tank as usual. The UK is building a battleship, and India is building a fast battleship and a normal carrier. Japan decided not to advance their battlecruiser because they need it. They need the money for other things. And yes, that is correct. Japan is building a mech, and this is to scale. So that is how tall a mech would be in comparison to an aircraft carrier. Yes, I know, that is insane, but you know me, I like insane. Japan, so far, is the only one to start that. Anzac did try. Yes, you heard me right. I said Anzac. They've been spending all of their money just to get mechs. They failed, unfortunately. But they can try next turn if they're not destroyed. And that's basically it. That's the entire tech charts right there. I think that's it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you at the end of round 8.